Hello, I'm Jonathan from Aible, and over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you through some of the key features of the Aible platform. Starting here with our technology called Aible Sense. And what Aible Sense allows users to do is quickly identify which datasets are valuable and which KPIs or outcomes can those datasets help predict. And this is incredibly beneficial, helping analysts prepare or understand data before they dive in and start an analytics process, helping data scientists quickly assess the AI readiness of a dataset, and even helping organizations identify which data sets are valuable before they load them into costly tools like Snowflake or others. But here, very quickly, what we see is Able is providing an AI readiness score. And this is indicating how strong the signal is in these different data sets. And we can see that, for this first data set, the readiness is a bit low. This score is low. It's better than random, but not a particularly high score. We need to be cautious in using this data set because those signals may not be appropriate. We can see here in the subscription sales data set that things are looking a bit better. But if we go over here and look at staff attrition, we can actually see that the score is much higher, but we actually get a warning because it's identifying that there potentially that the model is potentially overfitting, and there might be some issues with the data that we have in this data set that we might need to remove. And we can see those here and quickly identify if the fields that we're using are appropriate for model training. Now, some other features we have in here are the ability to go in and really understand what Able has done in terms of cleaning up the data sets. We check for common issues and make sure the data is ready for training. We also recommend certain derived fields that could potentially help improve the performance of models developed on this particular data set. And then finally, we give an indication of which factors were found within the data set which were particularly strong, and not only which features are important. Here we see day of week is an important factor represented by the arc length here, but we also see connections indicating how strong interactions are. So this large bridge here indicates that there's a strong interaction between day of week and annual income, and we can look at all of the variables to see where those interactions occur. Now from here, I'm going to go into our explore capability because I want to understand these patterns in greater detail. And in Able Explore, what Able does is build upon this graphic that we saw over in Able Sense, but automatically Able will draw out the core insights and present them to us here in a map. And what we have done with this particular approach is Able identifies the strongest patterns and then presents them out to us. No one had to go in and create a dashboard. And critically, we can navigate in any direction. We can engage with the insights as we see fit. We saw earlier that there was a strong interaction between day of week and annual income. My team was already aware of that, so I'm going to skip past that and take a look at age category, because this is an area where we hadn't really found anything interesting before. You can see here from this chart, it's hard to see if any demographic really has a meaningful conversion rate difference from another group. But remember, Abel's drawing out the interaction patterns and helping identify where there are anomalies, where there are things happening that perhaps we're not aware of. And in this case, Able has identified that when we are pursuing events marketing, we have a great success rate with the younger demographic. We're not having great conversion rates with middle or seniors. What we found was this organization was actually, their events marketing team was all under 30 years old, most of them just out of college, and they were putting together events that resonated with their demographic. They weren't actually putting together events that resonated with other demographics, so this was an opportunity for them to grow and improve their outreach through their events marketing. But critically, even back to this original pattern, where we are looking at something that's very difficult in a BI world to tell if either of these categories are better or worse than one another. One of the things that we developed in our research was an understanding of how models learn, and we use that to come in and assess whether certain categories are actually better or worse, because machine learning models control for variation naturally. Here, Able is generating 83 unique models and then having them vote. And these models have different ways of learning, different penalization functions for a correct response versus an incorrect response. And because of this, they learn differently, and we bring them to the table and have them vote. In this case, 77 of 83 models have identified that the senior demographic, all else being equal, actually resonate with our products more so than some of the other categories. And in fact, middle age, 69 of 83 models identify that the middle age group actually underperforms relative to other categories, helping us see provide x-ray vision into what's really going on in the patterns behind our data, helping make sure that we find the insights that are valid and make sure that our data sets are appropriate for using machine learning. Now that I've validated that our data set is solid, I've given some unique insights to the business team, and I can even download a PowerPoint and export this. But I'm going to move over into our AI creation stage. This is our optimized technology. And Aible is generating models, unique models across all of the different subgroups here. Here we're breaking this out by digital marketing, direct, and events to identify which opportunities we should work out of our inbound leads. But we can also break this down by product, by region, many different ways you can cut this based on the use case or application so that Aible can run an optimization and help identify how to get the most value out of this project. Now, one of the other things we do is we like to work closely with the business team so that we can work in lockstep with them. And one of the ways we do this is we have them establish a baseline. Now, this is an actual period, a month, a quarter, a year. And we put in the actuals that have occurred, and then we validate the models based off of that period. How could we have performed if we were following the model recommendations? And so we see here the business spent 2.9 million in on their cost of sales. They generated $11.8 million in revenue, and this led to a profitability of 725,000. Now, Aible has run an optimization and identified that there is a path to 2.4 million in a different additional profitability. That would result in an increase in revenue of 1.9 million, and all we would have to do is fire over half our sales team. Well, this is typically where our representatives on the sales side laugh at us and say, well, if I can target better, I'm not going to lay off over half my sales team. That would be a ridiculous approach to take. And that is an important factor. Every predictive model sets a strategy, whether you want it to or not. And we've seen time and time again, if those strategies are not aligned with what the business is trying to achieve, we will see the project fail. So within Aible, not only does Aible report out the strategy that it's recommending, it gives us the ability to come in and adjust that strategy. So here I can set a sales resourcing strategy to keep 100% of my sales team employed. Now in this case, I'm going to be able to increase revenue by 5 million, but I'm taking a profitability hit over that maximum profit available of $800,000. Now I can try yet another scenario here and make it a little bit more conservative. I'm going to go for 30% growth and see how that works out. Now Aible is recommending that we reduce our sales headcount by a little bit less than a third, which through natural attrition, with as hard as it is to hire these days, we can probably get there in a few months just by not backfilling some positions. Our revenue is increasing by 3.6 million, and our profitability is still pretty healthy here. We're only 300,000 down off of the maximum achievable. So I'm going to lock this strategy in and go forward with this into production to help drive the actions of my team in line with the strategy of my organization.